So last week we reviewed the Royal Enfield Continental GT650. If you haven't seen that video, the link is in the description, check it out. So the point being, we said then that it was a revolutionary product for Royal Enfield and it was like no Royal Enfield before it. However, one thing to keep in mind, before the twin-cylinder Enfields were released, they had another product in the lineup which was also revolutionary, and we have it with us today. Now this is the Himalayan BS6, and this is the Enfield which is designed to keep going even when the tarmac ends. Now you're not with us today, so I have to tell you how it's like to be with this machine in the flesh, or should I say in the metal. It's one of the most imposing bikes I've ever seen, which isn't like one of the really extremely expensive ones. And this particular one which we have with us today has a lot of touring accessories strapped on. For instance, the panniers at the back, the top box, the tank bag, and there's even an engine guard at the bottom, as well as knuckle guards to complete the whole rugged feel. All of these accessories add to the massive, imposing presence of the bike, and on the road you will immediately recognize it as a touring machine which is capable of tackling the mountains, off-road, and you will see the massive travel suspension at the front. The shocks deal with bumps really well, and once you look at it, it's a very purposeful, utilitarian look, and you instantly know that this is a mountain goat that will never let you down regardless of the terrain, and the appearance says all of that with just a glance at this. This spec of the Himalayan is actually my personal favorite. This shade of granite black looks amazing, I think, because it gives it a very raw, skeletal and purposeful look, which I think suits the motorcycle really well. One thing I'd like to add is that Enfield has not provided LEDs on this bike anywhere except the tail light. The headlight, the indicators, all of them are halogens, and the indicators look quite plain in comparison to the rest of the bike. It's such an exciting machine to look at, but the indicators are fairly geometric and conventional, so maybe LEDs or a little bit of shaping variation I would have preferred, but they don't really matter that much because the overall appearance of the bike is still really spectacular and purposeful. The instrument console of the Himalayan has a really funky layout to it, and it has a plethora of information on display. You get a speedometer, a tachometer, an ambient temperature indicator, a fuel economy display, a lot of telltale lights, a compass because it's an off-road themed bike. It adds to the appeal quite a lot. So basically a well catered for in terms of information on offer. Enfields of the past have had quite a lot of vibration issues, as we've said in the classic 350 video. We're putting the link for that in the description, check it out. But this one has a reinforced chassis subframe and swing arm which minimizes the vibrations and boosts the overall refinement of the bike. So when you're riding it, it doesn't feel like a vibrating nightmare like some of the older Enfields like the Bullet and the Classic. The Himalayan has a 411cc fuel injected long stroke engine which is built for torque and not outright speed. This is an off-roader, so top speed is not the priority of this machine. It has 24.3 bhp, which is 0.5 less than the BS4. The torque remains the same at 32 Newton meters, which is a lot, especially when coupled with the fuel injection system. Makes this quite an eager bike to get off the line, and it's really lively, and even compared to the BS4 and especially the BS3, it's much more frisky and eager to set off. Now I've told you that this is an adventure tourer and that all the design cues indicate to it being really great off-road, so you're going to expect the suspension to be something otherworldly, and you're right. It may not look very high-tech, but trust me, the long travel telescopic forks at the front and the monoshock at the back are perfectly tuned for India, and you will not feel a thing over potholes or speed breakers, maybe a gentle bump now and then, but otherwise you're going to be really comfortable, especially coupled with that supremely comfortable riding position. The suspension and the overall stance of the bike works very well in favor of giving you the most comfortable ride despite what the road conditions are, or even if there is no road at all. You're going to be really comfy because they make a great combination to deliver you the maximum comfort. The Himalayan has dual purpose tires which work off-road as well as on-road. and it has a 90 section at the front and a 120 section at the back, and they work really excellently on both types of terrain, so you're going to be well catered for despite what lies underneath the wheels. The seat height is 800 mm, which caters well to short, moderate and tall riders alike. Also, it's a gel padded seat, which is going to prove to be really useful on long journeys. Royal Enfield offers you the option of a touring pack when you buy this bike. For an extra 30,000 rupees, you can get the panniers which are equipped on this bike, as well as knuckle guards and a wider seat. Now this bike doesn't have the wider seat from the touring pack, but it does have the knuckle guards, the panniers and even an engine guard to enhance the touring appeal. You can even take the panniers off quite easily, as we're showing here, and you can quite easily carry them as briefcases with you wherever you go, so you won't need a backpack. Now this is quite a heavy bike. It weighs 199 kilograms, excluding all the accessories I just mentioned. So if you count the top box, the panniers, the pannier mounts, the knuckle guards and the engine guard, it's actually more than that. The clutch of the Himalayan is quite hard and takes some effort to press, but once you're used to it, it should be fine. But if it was a little easier to use, it would have been much better, especially in heavy traffic conditions such as the ones we have in India. The Himalayan has a 15-litre tank capacity and a fuel economy in the city of 28 to 30 kmpl, and on the highway we tested it to have a very impressive fuel economy of 40 kilometers per litre, which is really impressive for a bike with a 411cc engine. As I said, this bike is not built for outright speed, so don't expect a very impressive top end from it. However, the low end is pretty decent and the mid-range is where this bike really shines. The braking setup of this bike is quite impressive. It has disc brakes at the front and the back, so the bite is decent, although being such a heavy bike, we would have liked the braking performance to be a bit stronger. Also, one amazing feature on this bike is it has switchable ABS for the rear. Although the refinement of this bike is really great by Royal Enfield standards, you can still feel a fair amount of vibrations in the top end in places like the pegs. This motorcycle comes with a 5-speed gearbox. We would have liked 6 gears, but this is what we have to live for now. The question we ask at the end of every video, is it worth spending your money on? Now the highlight obviously is that this bike is insanely comfortable, and especially in India where the roads are pretty bad, you're gonna want a suspension setup like this and a seat like that and a posture as amazing as this bike. Also, if you're going to go off-road, if you're going to go touring, if you're going to lug around a lot of luggage, this is definitely the bike for you. Also, it's a looker, it's got decent performance on tap, and the price is 2.35 lakhs without the accessories on road. But this particular one has been kitted out quite a lot with the accessories that I mentioned earlier. So this one was for 2.6 lakhs on road. So you can spec yours however you want it, and you can get the best combination for your needs. And the Himalayan is a truly amazing bike and you should totally consider it.